friends, and welcome to my light-hearted Final Fantasy 15 review. I call it light-hearted because this game was not provided to me as a review copy, so that means I had all the time in the world to just sit back, take my time with it, and turn off my critical eye as much as I possibly can, which is something I like to do when I'm not reviewing a game. It just allows me to enjoy them a lot more. Anyway, and I just really want to talk about the game because, damn. One more thing, this video will be spoiler-free. Okay. So after 70 hours with the game, I finally finished Final Fantasy 15 about 3 or 4 days ago, and hell of a ride. I'm still kind of coming down. I'm still coming down 4 days later. It's very emotionally that. I'll just leave it at that for now. Just to breeze over some of my general thoughts, I loved the shit out of that game. I mean, it's not perfect by any means, but it was good enough and engaging enough and amazing enough and enough that this is what I looked like minutes after finishing the game. Guys, my eyes burned for like 2 days after that picture was taken. Never ever cried or sobbed that hard in a game, ever. But I would do it again in a heartbeat. Before going into Final Fantasy 15, I made sure to watch Kingsglaive, which is the CG film that tells a part of the story that you as Noctis will not witness. So if you want to kind of know what's going on parallel to what Noctis is experiencing, I would recommend you watch it. I also watched Brotherhood, which is the anime that is free on YouTube, and it tells you a bunch of background information about Noctis and his relationship with his bros and some pre-story information. Highly would recommend that you do this because I'm going to now talk about one of my biggest gripes with Final Fantasy 15, and that is the fact that they do not include enough story in the game, and it's very evident that there are pieces missing within. I wouldn't go as far as to say that there are blatant gaping plot holes or anything like that, but it definitely feels like there is a lot of opportunity for Square Enix to expand on certain parts of the game, which I feel like would have made a lot more sense to the player, especially if you haven't seen Kingsglaive or Brotherhood. Hell, even if you have seen those, there are going to be times when you're like, what? This is spoiler free, so don't worry, I won't mention specifics, but some generic examples would be like some epic event will happen in the game, right? A huge earth-shattering event, and then it cuts to 3 weeks later, and then you're 3 weeks into the future, but you don't know what's happened during those 3 weeks. Or, you know, for me, someone who cares about stories so much, it's like, okay, but what happened during those 3 weeks? What have they been doing? I feel like at least a montage or something could have been included in there. Or a character will become worm fodder, croak, eat shit, and you'll be like, was that important? I don't know if that was important or not. Or you will run into a character that you haven't seen in a very long time, and there's just no mention of, hey, how's it going? What were you up to? How is life? How did that thing happen to you? It just goes unmentioned. And you're like, come on, guys, details. Granted, those details aren't completely necessary for the story to go on and move forward, but I feel like given the time that Square Enix spent to develop these characters and develop this like lore and overarching story, like they should have at least expanded on some very critical moments that they did not. Now, Square Enix has mentioned that coming in, I believe 2017 sometime, I'm sure it will be this year because the year just started, they are releasing DLC that will include extra cinematic scenes to help explain certain aspects of the story that probably weren't explained very well. They are also releasing DLC that will tell some of the events that happen to your bros during the course of the game that is never touched upon or really talked about. So that's good. And I know they have also said that they felt like the future DLC would not have fit in well with the story as is. Personally, I don't really buy it. I feel like it would have fit in perfectly well, but that's just my opinion. So anyway, it's just one of those things. With all of that said, though, I don't want you to get the wrong idea and think that Final Fantasy 15 isn't great as is. In fact, I'm still feeling that like post-game depression that I only get once in a blue moon. It takes a very special game for me to feel this way, where I have not really been able to play anything else because nothing will be as good as Final Fantasy 15 right now, and I'm just not over it yet. And for it to move me that much for several days is quite a feat, and it's been really hard to get over it. It's a very special thing, I think, for a game to invoke such a reaction from people. And if you've been on social media, I'm sure you've seen all over everyone else who's been playing it has been feeling generally the same way. So all good. It's all good. I won't go into specifics about the story because, again, spoiler free. Take a shot every time I say spoiler free. You'll end up drunk. So when most people think of Final Fantasy, you know, they think of Moogles and Chocobos and happy cactuars and oh, we're so happy and oh my gosh, anime character-y and life is good. Yeah, no, don't really expect that from this game. And I just want to bring that point up because a lot of people that I've talked to have been hesitant to get into Final Fantasy 15 because they're thinking it's going to be some childish game. But you know, if you've played a Final Fantasy game before, you know they're really not necessarily childish. But it's just a stereotype they have. So if you are one of those people who think about Final Fantasy 15 being all happy and cutesy, it's a very mature storyline, and while it does have its moments of happiness and lightheartedness and casual exploration, whatever the hell you want to call it, just know, like, you know, this will play with your adult emotions. It's not a storyline for the weak. Other than those things, other stuff I want to talk about: combat, exploration, map, stuff to do, all that good stuff. So we will go over those right now. That was a good segue, right? No, bad transition. Yeah, not good. So combat is dramatically different from what we're used to in Final Fantasy games. The whole turn-based shenaniganry is ixnayed. However, there is a wait mode that gives you a bit more flexibility and it's not real time. So I played it with the real time combat mechanic. I did not use wait mode at all, so I can't really speak about that. What can I say about the combat is you have a sword, you can swing it, you can equip magic, you can do something called phasing where you push square if you're playing on the PlayStation 4 and you zip around. You can have 4 weapons at once and you can use certain techniques with your Bohemians and they will work with you cooperatively in battle and you will kill things. I really enjoyed the combat. I thought it was very fun, very engaging, and especially once you like learn how to be like sneaky and I was going to say sexy with it, but I was thinking more like techie and snazzy. I don't know what the hell I'm trying to say. But once you get really good at it and you know all the ins and outs and you know how to be all like fancy, that's the word I was looking for. It's much more enjoyable. It might take a few battles before you kind of get the hang of it. There's a lot of buttons that need to be pressed for certain things, but I promise you, like once you get it down, it's easy peasy. It's like second nature. It's like riding a bike. So after battles and quests, which I'll talk about in a second or 2 or 3, you get experience points, and oh my gosh, you would have thunk it. However, the difference here is that the experience points are not applied to your characters until you rest, whether it be at a campsite, a hotel, an RV, and depending on where you quest, you will get certain bonuses. So there is a hotel in the game that if you pay a nice lump sum of a bunch of gil, I don't know how much it is, I can't remember, you will get 3 times the experience points. So if you go to rest at a hotel with 20,000 experience points added up, you'll get 60,000 experience points. And that is awesome, and that is definitely how you want to play the game because you will level up very quickly and it is good. However, if you stay at like an RV, you'll just get 1.5 times the experience. If you stay at a campsite, you only get 1 times the experience, so no bonus. However, Ignis can cook for you, and cooking gives you status boosts depending on what you cook and what its cooking skill is and all that good stuff. I didn't mind that system actually. At first I thought it was kind of weird. I'm like, why would you make this a thing? Why not just give me my experience points right off the bat? But there is something fun and addicting about accumulating as many as you can and then staying the night somewhere, especially at those hotels where you can get 2 or 3 times the experience and just watching those levels go up, 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 up. Within your in-game menu, you have a board that allows you to up your skills, your techniques, your combat, your magic, anything you could want or desire, basically things that make your life easier, is accessible in this board. And how it works is that you spend AP. You get AP by leveling up, completing quests, certain dialogue, etc., and then you have like, oh god, I don't know, like 5 or 6 or maybe even more different boards to choose from, and each one applies to either one character or all characters, so you can have a really gimpy character and another really strong character. The choice is yours. You are in control of your destiny. I love level grids and level boards and all that stuff because I love the feeling that I am making my characters who they are, and they're their own distinct characters that are going to be different from your characters or Joe's characters or Sally's characters. One thing I did notice about the board though is by the end of the game, now remember I put 70 hours into it, I did a majority of the side quests, and I was about 20 levels higher than the recommended level by the end of the game, and so I had accrued quite a bit of AP throughout my travels. However, I was nowhere near close to completing the board like nowhere near that. So that either tells me that I A, suck at accruing points, or B, but that they go on into the New Game Plus mode, and then you'll be able to complete your boards by doing quests over. I don't really know how that works. What I'm wondering is if at the end of the game, when you do the New Game Plus, if you get to take all of your skills with you, and then by the time you do your second run through, you're gonna have a lot more AP points, and then you can finish your board. But I'm not sure. So yeah, just know that if you just play the game normally, and do a lot of the quests, you still won't be able to fill in all of the board slots. At least I wasn't anywhere near able to do that, so I can't imagine someone actually doing that on their first playthrough. So just make sure you pick your skills and nodes and whatever the hell they're called wisely. Side quests. So I had a lot of fun with the side quests, and I always felt like they had a lot of meat and girth. I haven't said that in a while. Meat and girth to them. They never felt hollow and shallow and just like simple fetch questy. It feels like there were always specific lines of dialogue recorded between the party members for the side quest, even if it was just a few banters back and forth. It was appreciated. I have heard that someone finished the main story within a day, so obviously they didn't do any side quests. So the point I'm getting at, friends, is that you'll probably spend a lot of your time doing side quests. I know I did, and I did not have a bad time at all. I had a really good time with it, and I'm really pleased. You know, you will be catching frogs, you'll have to drive somewhere to find a spot so Prompto can take a picture. You'll have to kill certain enemies. You'll have to find things. They're all good. They're all really, really good. I would not worry about the side quests if you are worried about them. I found them very entertaining. Always something to do, always something to kill. I also felt like the side quests were a great way to get to know the characters better. Besides just like the banter that comes back and forth, I feel like it prompts characters to talk about something they otherwise wouldn't have. So again, if you're kind of a story nut like I am, that's just another reason to do the side quest. The last thing I want to talk about is the map and transportation. So what is a Final Fantasy game without Chocobos, right? Right. So you can rent Chocobos throughout the map, and they look like little parking meters, but they're Chocobo meters, and you can rent them for up to 7 days at a time. And once the 7 days have passed, they peace out, but I think in essence you keep the same Chocobo every time you rent one because you can upgrade them, their speed, their stamina will increase. So that's good. That's my favorite mode of transportation. The Regalia, the car, is fantastic, especially since you can like customize it and make it all like sexy and snazzy. But that doesn't go off the road, and walking is pretty tedious, so Chocobos are the way to go for sure. So, viva la Chocobo! Because there are a lot of things to discover on the map. There are reoccurring treasure chests, there are fishing spots, there are things, trinkets to find, enemies to kill, it never ends, and dungeons and all that good stuff. So you will spend a lot of your time exploring the map too, if that's the kind of thing you're into, like I was too. You see what I did there? No? Okay. Well, I know I wanted to make this a lighthearted, brief review of sorts, but I don't think I really accomplished that. I mean, I did, but I talked for a very long time. So at the end of the day, I just want to convey to you that I think Final Fantasy 15, as it stands right now, is a great, great game. It's not perfect, like I said earlier, but obviously it was good enough to the point where I formed an emotional attachment to this game, and I haven't formed an emotional attachment to a game like this since fucking Dragon Age. I mean, I don't know. It's been a very, very long time. So if you're on the fence whether or not to wait for the DLC and the patch, which will fix a few things, which will add some more cinematics, or whether you should play it right now, I almost want to recommend that you play it right now, because I'm worried for you if you haven't played it yet that the story is going to get spoiled for you, and it's really gonna remove that impactful moment, yeah, that really impacted me and so many others, and I really want you to experience that for yourself because it's just so good, and I don't want the story to be ruined for you. However, if you don't really care about that too much, then you may as well wait. Alright guys, thanks for letting me just word vomit and just talk about something that I really wanted to without much thought and or preparation. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy to know that you will watch that. Yay, thank you. And yeah, just go freaking play Final Fantasy 15. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye!